Hey folks, in this tutorial we're going to be converting a layer from 2D to 3D so that we can move it in 3D space. Now I'd like to point out before we do this that when I say I'm going to make the layer 3D, it's not going to be a thick solid 3D layer in the manner of, say, something you're designing in 3D Studio Max or Maya, where you're actually crafting something in a 3D solid state. The layer will still be flat, but by making it 3D, we can actually move it in 3 dimensions in space. So even though the layer is still flat, it can move around in space in 3 dimensions. At the moment, the layer can only move in 2 dimensions, up and down, which is the y-axis, and left and right, which is the x-axis. We're going to convert it to 3D so it can move in 3 dimensions instead of just the 2. Now to do that, you can click on the layer, go to the layer drop-down menu and make it 3D layer, or you can click on this tab here and that will make it 3D as well. If that tab isn't there, click on toggle switches modes just to make sure it appears. Right, I'm just going to expand the transform properties and let's just turn our attention now to the layer. What you can see now is that these 3 handles have appeared. We've got a handle that's green to move it still on the y-axis. We've got a handle that's red that we can still move it on the x-axis. But now we've got a handle pointing towards us, which is Z. This is now the z-axis, so we can move it in space towards us or away from us. If you're noting the transform properties window on the bottom left, it looks like, well, you might think it's scaling up and down, but it isn't. If you look at scale, scale stays the same. What's moving though is the object in space. It's moving its depth away from us and towards us. So although the object stays the same scale size, it can actually zoom towards us and move away from us. It's now moving in 3D space. You'll notice also that whereas normally, I'm just going to put it back to 2D, when you rotate something, it's only got one method of rotation. It can only move in 1 dimension. If we actually make it 3D, you'll see that we've got 3 methods of rotation now. We can rotate it on the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis. Now I'm just going to get my preview bar, bring it down to about 3 seconds. Let's give it a little bit of a test run. So I'm going to put my time marker on 0. I'm going to set a keyframe for x, y, and z. I'm going to move my time marker forward 2 seconds. And I'm going to do a 360 turn. As you can see, it's rotating on the red or the x-axis. Look at the red handle, it's rotating on that axis. I'm going to do a rotation for y. So as you can see, it's now spinning round on the green or the y-axis. That's the green handle on the image. And finally, I'm going to do a rotation on the z or the blue axis. And the blue axis is the one, or rather it's the handle that's pointing towards us. Let's take my time marker back to 0, and as I do that, you can see it is spinning around on all 3 axes. Let's give that a little preview and see what it looks like. Yeah, not too bad. So it's rotating around in 3 dimensions, something you couldn't do when it was a 2D layer. Okay folks, that was a very simple introduction to sort of 3D moves. See you in the next tutorial.